Hi, I'm Rob.
And I'm Rob.
And this is Ask Rob and Rob.
Hello everyone, welcome back to Ask Rob and Rob. And yes, we're doing it again. We're doubling up, not just one question like we normally do, 2 questions. Aren't you a lucky bunch? But in all fairness, we absolutely love answering your questions, so keep them coming. That's why we're doing double episodes now. And we make it nice and easy for you to get in touch, get involved and get on the show.
Yep, 2 questions, 2 answers, importantly. Otherwise it'd be a bit pointless. And also 2 ways of getting in touch. Give us a call, 013 808 0035. That's 013 808 0035. Or save yourself a couple of pennies and go online to thepropertyhub.net/podcast. Either way, exactly the same. Leave us a voicemail, get your question over to us, and we'll get you an answer. So our first question this week comes from Simon. So let's hear what he has to ask.
Hi guys, my name's Simon, calling from Leicester. The question I have for you is, in your opinion, do you think it's better to overpay your mortgage each month or save the money that you would be overpaying with in order to invest that money at a later date? I'd love to know what you think. Thanks very much.
Thank you, Simon. Great question. It's going to come down to a couple of things. One, are you talking about your own mortgage in terms of your own home, or is it a buy-to-let? Well, let's have a look at both. Well, it really comes down to opportunity cost. So let's just say that your mortgage is at 4%. So if you overpay your mortgage, you're basically saving yourself 4%. So should you do that? Well, that's where the opportunity cost comes in. If you can put that same money, so let's say you've got 10,000 to overpay, let's say you can put that same money in different assets, different wealth vehicles that can give you 8%, then really you should be putting it in those vehicles, wherever they may be. It might be another property or something else. So it's going to come down to the numbers. Now, that's why I say when it comes down to your own property or a buy-to-let, because if it's a buy-to-let option, then really that's a no-brainer because it's an investment, make your money work harder, nice and simple. The numbers tell you that's what you should do. However, if it's your own home, you've got this little extra ingredient in the mix called emotion. And that makes it a little bit more difficult to answer. Only you can then decide on what to do. If you can get a better return on your funds elsewhere than paying down your mortgage, then logic says do it. However, emotion might argue with you. So you've got to see how much more that return is before you make that decision. If it's only 1% in it and you feel better about paying your mortgage down, then pay your mortgage down. So not clear cut. It will depend on how much emotion is in the mix with this decision, but at least you know the opportunity cost calculation and how to assess it from a numbers point of view.
Okay, thank you, Simon, for that question. So that answer came down largely to looking at the numbers. The next question is more to do with social etiquette. So this question comes in from Joceline, and let's have a listen to that question now.
Hello, Rob and Rob. This is Joceline. I am an avid listener to everything you do, and it is changing my life. I'm just in the middle of buying my second buy-to-let, and I don't want to stop. I had a question, though, about buying below market value. Although I totally understand that it's a good idea, I don't really know how to approach estate agents when that's what I'm trying to do. Because saying, honestly, I'm hoping to buy this for less than it's worth feels so rude and sort of brash. But on the other hand, engaging in some sort of role play in which I pretend that the property is of less value than it really is feels dishonest and weird. So I wondered if you had any thoughts. How do you approach estate agents when you are planning to get things for less than they're really worth? Thank you very much. I will be listening. Bye.
Okay, thanks, Joceline. First of all, thank you for the kind words. Great to hear your enthusiasm. Absolutely brilliant. And a question that does come up, and it rightly comes up, because, you know, to be fair to us, we talk about the importance of buying B&V, but we do say it's not easy. It's very possible, but it's not easy. And it does create some uncomfortable situations sometimes if you're trying to get things for less than they're worth. We always say with property, it's great because you actually can pick it up for less than it's worth, which you can't do with lots of other assets. But that doesn't mean that you're not going to get some phones put down on you or into some awkward conversations along the way. So there are different schools of thought on this when it comes to trying to get property on the cheap, basically, through letting agents. Some people say that the best thing to do is to actually reason it through with the agent and make them go through the numbers with you to explain how you get to your offer. So take what you think the property's worth, go through with them, well, it'll cost this much for this much for this. Obviously, I need to make a margin on this. I'm a professional investor. So that's there. And this is the number it gets me to. The theory with that is that the agent isn't going to be upset with you because they see where you're coming from. You're not just being a chancer. And they will, therefore, put your offer across in the best possible light. And I've spoken to some agents who say that they like that approach. But I've also spoken to other agents who say that they don't like that approach. Quite frankly, they don't care. All they want to know is how much you're offering so they can put it to their client, get a yes, no, and move on. And personally, that's the approach that I take. I don't play any games. I don't say I'm hoping to get this on the cheap, but then I also don't try to con them that that's actually what the property is worth. I just say, here's my offer. Here's what it is. I understand that it might be a bit on the low side for the vendor, but, it is what it is. If they accept, great. If they don't, never mind. I'll leave it on the table for a couple of weeks and see if things change. Keep it very factual, unemotional, and not personal. What can really help, though, is having something else in your favour. So a common one is speed. If you're buying with cash or with bridging, so you don't need a mortgage, then you're able to say, okay, I want to buy for this price, which is a bit lower than they want, but I am buying with cash and I'll be able to complete within a few weeks. So if maximising the price is the most important thing for your vendor, that's not going to work. But if they want a quick sale and the certainty of the sale, then maybe it'll work. That's just my approach. There are different ways of doing it. I think it's about finding your own style, but for the most part, the best thing to do is to just get out there and do it. And maybe your voice will be trembling the first couple of times, but when you've done it 20 times in a day, you won't be too worried anymore.
Who would have thought dealing with estate agents could be difficult, eh? Well, thank you to our wonderful listeners who've asked us questions this week. Remember, we make it nice and simple for you to get involved, so do get in touch. We absolutely appreciate it, and we appreciate your support. The reviews that we get on the podcast are absolutely fantastic, comfortably through 400 now. More 5-star reviews than any other business podcast on iTunes. So a huge thank you to everyone who supports the show. And you know what? Since you're so nice, we'll come back on Thursday with another podcast. So until then, have fun. Bye-bye.